6 years, 7. Okay, so I was asked in the comment section of my video, I forgot which video, but one of my videos, to make a video talking about how to overcome jealousy, like when you're in a relationship. A lady asked me, how can she stop being so jealous and insecure about her man, like when he leaves to go somewhere, or his coworkers, it's like female coworkers or whatever. How to deal with that, and she wanted me to break down how to deal with being jealous and how to overcome it and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so as a woman who's been married forever according to me, I've been with the same person for 14 years. We've had our ups and downs. When I was first in the relationship, I could understand being jealous a little bit. That comes with the territory, but not to the point where it took over my life or became a major problem. Basically, people often confuse love with possession, like ownership or something like that. But the truth is that if you really love someone, you're not going to be like that to them. You're not going to be jealous of them talking to other people. That's not love. That's possession. So there is a big difference. So first of all, you need to really analyze if you love this person honestly or not. Like, you can be with someone for years. You can just, you can like what they represent. You can like how they look. You can like how they do this and how they do that. You can become good friends with them. But to truly, really love them, that takes some really in-depth thought. If you're jealous of this person, and every time you see them around someone, it makes you uncomfortable, and it makes you upset or angry or feel any type of negative way, that's not love, sweetie. What it is fear. The opposite of love. Now, I'm not trying to say you don't love your man or you don't really like him or whatever. I'm saying you don't know what love is. So, if we think love is possession, then we feel like that we love our man if we are concerned about who he's with, or jealous, or feel some kind of way when he's around other women. That's not love. That's jealousy. And fear of losing him. That's what jealousy is, fear of losing something. Envy is a lot different than jealousy. Envy is wanting what someone else has. So you're being jealous, which is you're being afraid of losing your man to this woman who you think might envy you. So really, you're in an ego state of mind. The ego sets you up to fear, and also to make you think that you are something more, and see and feel as if you're something more than what you really are. And that's not a good thing, because who you really are, like when you were a child, you weren't jealous of other people who are around, the people you loved and looked up to. You weren't jealous that your sister and your mother, or your daddy and your mommy, sat on the same couch. You weren't jealous of that. So you have to think back to when you really did love, and how you treated those people. Were you jealous of them when they went off to do this or that with another person? And then you have to think, if you have a child, are you jealous if your child goes to give another adult attention? Does that make you jealous? If the answer is no, then that's love. you don't fear losing your child to another adult because they're born to you. So this brings me to the point where I'm going to give you some advice on how to stop the jealousy between you and, you know, how you feel about other females around your man or him just leaving the house in general. First of all, you need to ask yourself, why do I fear losing him? You know the answer to that. I can't tell you. Second question that you need to ask yourself is, do I really love him or what he represents? The third question is, if he were my child, would I feel the same way about him working with other women, talking to other women, going out without me knowing what's going on? Would you feel comfortable as a mother letting him do what he does? Because a mother loves, most women who are mothers, they love their children and they want them to be happy. Even if it means leaving the house and hanging out with this person or that person, if they enjoy what they do. So you have to really understand that love is not possession. There's a quote in a poem that my favorite person in the world, who I've never met, wrote. I know I always bring him up in every video. MJ. Okay, he wrote a poem called Love. And a quote from that poem is, love is like a bar of soap. You can hold it in your hand. You can caress it. But if you start to squeeze too hard, it's going to slip away. Love is meant to be held and caressed and being able to let fly or slip when it feels like it. It's not a grip. It is freedom to be happy. So, if you fear losing that man, then you need to explore that, and not the other women, but the reason that you fear losing him. Has he done something in the past that might make you fear losing him? Has he cheated? If the answer is yes, then this means that you're basically living in the past. If you stayed with him after he cheated, that means you have to move forward. If you can't do that and you're going to remain jealous for who knows how long, then you're going to be miserable. And eventually that relationship will dissolve because you can't possess someone. Also, I've learned that the less that you're jealous, the more happy you want to see that person, the more involved you are, in understanding that people have to interact with other people. You'll start to do it yourself. You'll start to interact with other people. You'll start to see that there can be platonic relationships with no, this or that. And you'll start to understand, okay, well, his coworker is a female, but that doesn't mean this or that. She could be happily married with kids or have a fiance or, whatever. You don't know her story. You're just afraid to lose him. And what happens when we're afraid of something? We're constantly thinking about it and attracting it to us. So if your mind is on jealousy and your mind is on fear of losing him, guess what? That's what's going to happen eventually. So what you have to do is focus on the things that you do like about him, the things that you are appreciative for about him, the good things that he does, how special he treats you, and all of that. And you won't even be thinking about the other stuff. And if you're just stuck in that jealousy and fear of losing him, then that's where your frequencies and vibrations are going to stay. And eventually, guess what? You will lose him. And it will be the way you expected it, because you keep thinking about it. You keep feeling about it. You keep raising that energy and that vibration, and you're creating that right now when you're being jealous. So I really hope that you can preoccupy yourself with other things. Sometimes the less you know, the better off you are as far as thinking. Like, you don't have to ask him a million questions when he leaves the house. You don't have to. He can say, "Oh, I'm going to go out and get something to eat." You don't, or I'm going to work. I have a project. I have a meeting. You don't have to ask him, "Who are you working with? Who's the meeting with? Are you going to be doing this? Who do you go to lunch with?" You don't have to ask him that. Why? Because he's going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter if you ask him or not. You keep yourself from getting in that negative frequency and creating situations in your brain that may never happen. But once you create them up here, there's a possibility. Now, because you've created this, frequency that's out in the universe now and will be picked up on. So you have to stop. You have to stop. You have to find something to do. You got to get a hobby, girl. You got to craft. You got to do your nails. You got to do something. You stop questioning people or your boyfriend or your man about every little thing, because as people with free will and free choice, we gonna do what we gonna do anyway. All you're gonna do is either attract it faster or drive yourself crazy. If you fear losing something, what do we do? If I fear losing something, what do I do? A lot of people fear losing money. They fear losing this. They fear losing that. People who fear things often do lose whatever they fear losing. I don't fear losing nothing. I am not attached to anything permanently because everything changes. And the less that I fear losing things, the more I receive. Because there's no fear. There's no frequency saying, "Oh, she's scared. If she receives this, she's just going to be afraid to lose it." And that's not going to help her at all. So stop the fear. Stop the jealousy. Stop fearing you're going to lose your man. Enjoy your man while you got him. Who knows if that's the man you're going to marry? You might end up marrying someone later on down the line, and one day you might be like, "Oh my God, I've been married so long." And you start to think back about that man. Like, "Oh, those were the good old days." You want to have good, pleasant memories of your past man or lover or whatever. When you're on the days you're bored with your husband. Believe me, you don't want to start a pattern where you ruin every relationship because you fear losing it. That's silly. That's like saying you wreck every car because you're afraid that you're going to get in an accident. And you're so wound up and nervous from driving, you're not paying attention to the road, and bam, it's over. You got to let that stuff go. And sometimes, it takes a little glass of wine. Sometimes it takes walking through the mall and not even worrying about, doing something that you really like. And you won't even be thinking about him. You'll be like, "What?" Oh, and then he might come home and say, "Oh yeah, how was your day, honey? I went to lunch with such and such whatever girl, and the crew, See, he's gonna always be at the crew, and you're gonna be so wrapped up in what you're doing. You'll be like, "Oh, honey, that's nice." Then he's gonna go, "What? She's not tripping today, huh? Wonder what she's up to." Then he's gonna start paying more attention to you because you let the leash go. You loosened his collar. You haven't responded back with a jealous tone or anything. Now he's interested in what you're thinking about, Because men who are always accused and thought to be doing something wrong, they're going to do something wrong eventually just because they're always getting the slack for it. So y'all just remember that. Like me, I don't even care no more. I'm going to do whatever you want to do. Because I'm going to be focused on what I'm doing. I don't fear losing my husband, believe me. We don't have a prenup. Anyway, y'all know I always have to add a joke at the end, okay? But I don't fear losing anybody because they fear losing me. Oh,